Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith Kitchen. If you're new to my channel and this is your first video, thanks. I'm glad you took the time to check me out. I hope you like what you get, and I hope you subscribe. And speaking of which, don't forget to subscribe. If you haven't already, button's right down there somewhere, and right next to it's the notification bell. That way you know when my videos come out if you so desire. Just tap it and it'll start happening. And thumbs up, thumbs down, always appreciated. Comments, as always, love them. Respond to all of them. And just keep respectful. Kind of rule of thumb. We practice being a good neighbor here, and our community is really cool. If you are returning to my channel, thank you, as always. And today, Wednesday, we're going to cook dinner. We're going to do a crock pot dinner. If you caught the video I put out this morning, which was kind of my Tuesday video on a Wednesday morning, and we went over the banana cream pie and what happened and what I did to fix it, but along with a couple other things. But tonight we're going to do a hamburger cheese slow cooker, hamburger and cheese slow cooker recipe. It's got some noodles, some marinara sauce, some hamburger, obviously in the name, lots of cheese. I think it's going to be an amazingly good dish. It's fairly quick and easy to put together. It should only take about 10 minutes or so. And it cooks for about 4 or 5 hours, so it's not something you could necessarily like put together, go to work, and come back home unless you work less than 5 hours. But this would be something you could put together, say 10 o'clock, and then go run errands. Go do whatever it is you have to do for the afternoon. Go have lunch with friends. Whatever it takes. But it's not a hard one, and not by any stretch of the imagination. So all we have to do is, let me get you here. Let me get you situated over here so we can kind of see what's going on. It won't take long. Give me one. All right. You'll have to kind of excuse the mess. I got a lot of projects going on at once in an itty-bitty kitchen. If you are new to my kitchen, as I've said, I'm sure a dozen times, this is my kitchen. That's my counter space, stove, fridge right behind me, back door right behind you. So, first thing we need to do, something I should have been doing already, and that's warm this pan up. We're just going to brown this hamburger, okay? That's all we got to do. So, and as soon as we brown this, and it's just 1 pound of hamburger, but like anything else, you use as much or as little as you like. My hamburger is still kind of frozen in the middle. That's all right. It'll cook down, as always. And then as soon as we get done browning this hamburger, let's talk about ingredients list real quick. You're going to need a pound of hamburger. You're going to need at least 24 ounces of a marinara sauce. Now, we make our own marinara sauce, but you can buy a 24-ounce jar of marinara. We will need some Italian seasoning. We will need some beef bouillon. In my case, I use Better Than Beef bouillon. It's a paste versus a cube. And then we will need some salt, some pepper, some garlic, a fresh diced tomato or two, and some onion diced up. Now, before you go getting crazy on me, I will tell you how much of everything that we're going to use as we go. As always, I wrote down the directions. Here's the recipe right here. Crock pot beef and cheese pasta. All right. You will also need some pasta and some spinach. I mean, there's lots of things we're going to put in this, but we need to start with the basics because we're going to put everything in the crock pot that takes 4 hours. And then once that 4 hours is up, we'll throw in the last few ingredients that go with it, which is just essentially the cheese, the sausage, cheese and sausage, and spinach, or cheese, spinach, and that would be it. But we'll get to that in a little bit. So for right now, let's go ahead and get this hamburger brown, and then when I come back, we'll move on to what to do next. All right, so we got our hamburger brown. So the next thing we want to do is not burn ourselves. Grab a mitt or glove, as the case may be. We're just going to take this brown hamburger. Now, it doesn't have to be like completely, cooked, because remember, it's going to go in a crock pot for 4 hours. Now, before you put this in the crock pot, or, well, I mean, you can put it straight in the crock pot, but thing you want to think about is this. What kind of meat did you use? Was it a 70-30, 80-20? Yeah, what was the meat to fat content? You don't want a bunch of fat in this. Now, this meat had like no fat in it, really. So I didn't drain it. Now, if you did have a lot of fat in it, you would want to drain the meat off. So the next thing we're going to do, or drain the grease off the meat before you put it in the crock pot. So the next thing we need to do is, and like I said, you'll have to excuse the little bit of mess going on here, but I got a couple different projects going on here in the kitchen that I'm working on. So the next thing we're going to do is take 1 tablespoon of oil, put it in the exact same pan. All right, and I'm going to turn that pan back on. It might be a little bit more than a tablespoon, but it's all right. It's not going to hurt anything, because what we're going to do is we're going to soften our onions. We're going to get them clear. You know, we're looking to get them clear, but we got to wait for the oil to heat up. And then after the oil heats up and we've got the onions looking clear after about 4 or 5 minutes of being in here, you know, and the onion is just one medium-sized diced up onion, you know, or chopped or rough chopped. That's the beauty of a lot of these dishes I do, is this is a base for you to elevate. Like I had taken a couple different recipes for this, and we kind of squeezed them together, so to speak, you know, to make our own. Sorry, it's my oven going off. I went to make the timer for the oven because I'm baking in the oven, and I accidentally turned the oven off and had to turn it back on again. So now it's just letting me know that it's up to 350 degrees and ready to rock. So you can make this any way you want. Take away, add to. All right, so my oil's shimmering. All right, it looks like it's dancing, and I can see just a wisp of smoke on there. So I'm going to go ahead and put my onions in. And we're going to start stirring these around just like we did the hamburger to get it brown, only we're just trying to get these a little soft and clear. So like I was saying with the, you know, kind of do it your way thing, yeah, and you should do it your way, you know, because you may not like everything. Like the reason why I didn't just use one sole recipe was the one recipe that Chris found had a lot of spices that went into it, which is great. But we make our own marinara sauce, and our marinara sauce has a lot of spices already in it. Well, then I found another recipe that didn't have a whole lot of spices in it, which is good because our marinara sauce has it. And there were things in one recipe that we liked and things in another recipe that we liked, so we just kind of combined it together, which is, you know, that's how you create your own. Yeah, essentially, you're like, oh, well, I like a little bit of this, I like a little bit of that. You know, I don't like rosemary, but I like thyme, but I like, you know, basil, but I don't like, you know, fennel seeds. The marinara sauce that we make, and if you're interested in what's in it, if you go back and look at my chicken parmesan video, it's the exact same marinara sauce we used for that, and I have all the ingredients in there. It's not a lot of ingredients. It's about 8 or 9 different seasonings. It's got some fennel in it, and some oregano, and some bay leaves, and some basil, and you know. But yeah, that way, we make a lot of our own stuff just so that way we know what's in it. We have come to the firm impression that, and we've learned that preservatives that are put in stuff, a lot of those can give you cancer. Is what it comes down to. And Chris's family battles that. My family has battled cancer for generations. Matter of fact, when I went and had my last procedure done, they removed what could have been cancerous polyps in me. And so we try to stay away from, you know, preservatives, a lot of fast food. I'm not going to say we don't eat any of that stuff, because of course we do. There's nights when I don't feel like cooking. There's nights when Chris doesn't feel like cooking. You know, or it might just not be convenient to cook. We've been out doing stuff all day, and we're both tired or whatever, it's late, and we're just like, oh, let's get pizza, or let's just swing through McDonald's or whatever. So it does happen, but not very often. We try our best to eat healthy with good foods, use a lot of spices. Now, do we eat healthy all the time? No. I mean, I bake every week for, so we can try new things. And it's not like we donate that. We eat it, So like when we made the banana cream pie last week that was a failure, okay, we're done. So our onions are brown. I'll get back to my story in a second. Our onions are brown. I dumped in what is essentially 2 cloves of garlic. Now garlic, you put what you want in it. I only put 2 cloves in this. We like garlic, and garlic is good for you, by the way. But only because I know there's 6 cloves of garlic in that marinara sauce. So, which is what it calls for. So now that we got that in and going strong, we just got to put this in there. Alright, so we got our softened, cooked onion in there. We've got our quickly sauteed onion. Now with our garlic and onion with garlic. Here's one thing to keep in mind. When you put your garlic in the pan, you have to keep it moving. You have to, you don't want to put your garlic in with your onions and then walk away. If garlic burns, it becomes very bitter. You don't want bitter. Bitter is horrible. So, we've got our hamburger in here. We've got our onions. 1 medium onion, 1 pound of hamburger, and 2 cloves of garlic. Okay? That's where we're at so far, right? So the next thing on our ingredient list, next thing we need to do is add our sauce. Okay? So we're going to add our sauce, our tomatoes, Italian seasoning, some water, salt, and pepper. Alright? So let's go ahead and get started on that. Now it calls for a 24-ounce jar of sauce. I can weigh it out, but I'm not going to. Mostly because I know that this sauce right here, there is 30 ounces of tomato sauce and 30 ounces of crushed red pepper, so I can run with about half. I just got to remember where I put my ladles. There. So I'm going to put about half in here. And I may end up putting the whole thing in there. I mean, it just really depends on what I'm seeing. But I doubt it. We're not making a soup. We're making a chili mac, like chili and cheese pasta. Or hamburger and cheese pasta. So we don't want it real soupy, I wouldn't think. And it's not going to... It'll cook down a little bit, and the noodles are going to pull some of that out. But we want it thick. So... what am I going to do with the rest of the sauce? Well, I'm going to put it in the freezer bag, and then I'm going to put it in the freezer. That way, I can use it for something else down the road. Spaghetti, another chicken parmesan, or a veal parmesan, or any of that stuff. It'll be good for a few months in the freezer, Or I may make more up down the road for another dish and just add it to it. You never know. Okay, so we got our 24-ounce jar of marinara sauce in there. So now we need our Italian seasoning, which is 1 teaspoon. All right, which we'll just put that teaspoon in the palm of the hand, right there. I'm giving you measurements, but realistically, I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, that's what I'm doing. This is what I would do if we weren't cooking together. But I know that was a teaspoon. Alright. Palm of your hand, right there in the center, if you cup it, teaspoon. And then the next thing we need is a half a teaspoon of next thing we need is our tomatoes, which I have. It's 1 cup of tomatoes. I just chopped up some fresh tomatoes. You can use canned tomatoes if that's what you'd like. These were $1. It's 2 Roma tomatoes, about a cup of tomatoes going in, right? Yep, good. And then we need some salt and pepper. All right, easy enough. We are going to put in a half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of pepper. So if it's a full spot in the palm, it's about half a full spot in the palm for a half teaspoon. There we go. Good right there. These jars got a little warm. Half a teaspoon of pepper. And then the last thing we're going to need to put in here for right now is 3 cups of water and 2 bouillon cubes. Okay? So let me get my 3 cups of water real quick. I know normally I have all this put out, right? But I thought I would just go ahead and cook like I would cook at home. I don't do this very often for you guys, but this is how we do it. All right, so this is the mason jar my tomato sauce was in. It has measurements right there on the side. 3 cups right there. And this gets all that extra bit of tomato out of it. So right there's our 3 cups of water. And then we just need... Now this I'm going to measure out. All right, it's 2 teaspoons of... if you were using a... Yes, better if you were using bouillon cubes, beef bouillon cubes, you would just need 2 cubes. I am not using cubes. I am using Better Than Bouillon mix, and it's 1 teaspoon equals a cube. So go ahead and get that out of there. And I'll get 1 more in there, and that's because especially with the Better Than Bouillon, I like it. It's my favorite to use. It's more of a condensed beef broth than a powder, right? But if you are not, if you can get carried away very easily with it, and it can overrun it. We're not looking to overtake the dish, with beef flavor. We're looking to enhance that hamburger flavor. And that's the important thing. All right, we're going to give it a good stir here, and it's actually looking pretty good. I don't know if you can see that or not. Here, let me bring you over like that. I mean, and it just looks like a really nice spaghetti sauce, to be honest with you. Which is what it is, essentially. So we're going to stir this up. Make sure you're not going to fall. Give this a good stir. Double check the directions. Now, you're saying, Brian, everything's cooked. Why would you possibly put this in a crock pot? Well, I'll tell you why. I'm glad you asked, all the same. The reason being, with it cooking together slow, the point of cooking this is to get everything to mingle and get to know each other, get those flavors in there and intensify them. The longer you cook something, the more intense the flavors are going to be, the heartier it's going to be. It's going to be full of flavor. So all we have to do now that we have all that in there, is put the lid on it, and we're going to let it cook. Grab the lid, and we're going to let this cook for 4 hours. So when I come back, we'll move on to the next step, which is going to be to put the pasta and the cheese in it. All right? So I will see you here in 1 millisecond, and it'll be about 4 hours for me. All right, we're back. So funny thing happened on the way to Apollo, so to speak. My one tripod decided it didn't want to hold my phone anymore, which was horrible. So we are really working at an odd angle now. I'm on my old tripod, which I don't have the spot for anymore. And it's okay. We adapt, we overcome, and improvise, so to speak. And we have now let our sauce and meat, cook in the slow cooker for about 4 hours. It smells fantastic. Now, that being said, there was one ingredient that is on my list that I didn't mention, and that's because I put it in my marinara, and that's sugar. All right, and you're thinking, sugar in a red sauce? Right. Here's why. And you're looking at about 2 tablespoons worth. I even added a little extra to mine. And it'll solely depend on you, but there is a heavy acidity level with all the tomato in there. So it will have kind of a bitter taste to it, and it's rough on your belly. Tomato sauce in general is really kind of rough on your belly. So you're going to want to add a little sugar in there, not to make it sweet. You're not dumping a cup of sugar in there like you're making Kool-Aid. You're just going to start with a tablespoon, taste it, add a tablespoon more if need be. You adjust it to your levels, to your liking, but you want to put some sugar in there to balance out the flavors. All right, so after about an hour of cooking, when it got nice and warm and things started to blend together, I tasted a little bit of it, which it tastes fantastic, but it needed a little more sugar. So I put a little more sugar into it to balance out the flavors. All right, that's important. Another thing you could add to it, and it'll just depend on what you like, is crushed red pepper to your taste. You know, birdseed, the pepper flakes. Those are the sugar is almost a must. I mean, unless you like a highly acidic tomato sauce, which I don't know many people that do. But the crushed red peppers are an absolute option. I put it in my marinaras along with like the sugar, so I didn't fuss with it a whole lot. But anyhow, let me get you down here to the counter, and we'll move on to the next step and next ingredients. Sorry. Well, I got my cameras just all kinds of shenanigans today. All right, so we got that going. We'll take that off. Now, I already took the bay leaves out of here. They did their job, and bay leaves you don't want to keep. Your body can't digest them. They're not poisonous, but they can hurt you. Bay leaves are not, they don't break down in your stomach. So that means when they start traveling through your intestines, they're whole, and the sides are very sharp. So you don't want to have those going through you and run the risk of cutting you on the inside. At most, you'll end up in the hospital for the evening, and that's just no fun. So it's just better just take them out. I mean, we're only 2. Took them out, good to go. So the next thing we're going to add to this is our pasta. Now, you can use any pasta you want, any pasta. Macaroni noodles, penne noodles, bow ties. I'm going to use bow ties because they're fun. Like I said, I mean, any noodle you find it, Rositi noodles. I mean, whatever. They're fun, but you're going to put 2 cups in. 2 cups of noodles, or you can do more. That's completely up to you. The recipe both recipes called for 2 noodles, 2 cups of noodles. So that's what we're going to put in there. All right. And then we're going to, we need a cup of mozzarella cheese, shredded mozzarella cheese. We shred our own. We buy it in block and shred it. And you're going to need a half a cup of Parmesan. And then you're going to need a half a cup of heavy cream. All right? So what we're going to do with this is we're going to take half the mozzarella, all right, give or take. We're going to put it in there. We're going to take some spinach, or spinach. Woo! We're going to take the Parmesan, and we're going to put the whole half a cup in there. Now, half a cup is a, make it what you want measurement. If you want more cheese, add more cheese. If you want less cheese, add less cheese. If you don't like Parmesan, don't put it in there. It's completely up to you. We're going to stir that in, just like such, to get that flavor in there. And then we're going to put in our half a cup of heavy cream. Half a cup of heavy cream. We'll get that stirred in. Now, I was debating on the heavy cream. It's an option, but the one recipe that I looked at, The lady said that she puts it in there and it makes the sauce creamier. It also turns it from dark red to a light red. And I know, as like Chris makes this dish that you guys are going to see eventually. We call it Chris's dish. I don't know the real name for it, but it's something that her mom made when she was younger that has Alfredo and tomato sauce in it. And I have color issues when it comes to food, so I struggle to eat it because of its visual. This looks more orangish red, and I think I can handle it. I thought this through first. Although the dish she is going to make for you guys eventually, or give me the recipe for, and I'll make it, tastes amazing. It's a sausage-based sausage and peppers that's just out of this world. Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we're just going to put this, actually, we're going to do something really cool. Only because I couldn't decide when to put it in. But we're going to go ahead and put it in now because this is only going to cook for about another half hour. We just got to get this cheese that I'm about to put on top melted. We're going to put some spinach in there. I'm using fresh spinach. You can use frozen spinach. Completely up to you. I'll get it out of the fridge. We'll get it open. Now I know you're thinking spinach, really? But it actually... the one recipe called for it, and I thought, how interesting, plus it sounds good. Now, spinach is something, if you're going to put it in, you want to put it in at the end. You do not want to put it in at the beginning. You can overcook spinach, and it becomes bitter. So if you think it's going to be longer than a half hour, don't put it in there. But we'll get that in there. And we're just looking at about... I don't know, a couple cups worth of fresh spinach, which really isn't a lot, because once it cooks down and wilts, you'll hardly see it. But matter of fact, let's put a little more in there. So we're running about 3 to 4 cups of fresh spinach. We'll get that mixed in there. And it makes it, I'm not going to say healthy, but spinach has so many vitamins and nutrients in it, especially fresh spinach like this, that you can't go wrong with it. I know I'm going to try to grow spinach this summer out in the garden, the new garden we're going to start, and whatever we get, and we'll use some on hand, but I'll grow enough that we can at least freeze it. I prefer a fresh spinach over anything else. I stay completely away from canned spinach, in my personal opinion. It's like the worst stuff in the world. It's good for you. It doesn't have any flavor. I think it loses some of its nutrients. All right, so we got the spinach in there. We're living on the edge. And then we're just going to sprinkle this mozzarella on the top. Just like such. And we're going to let this cook for about a half hour. All right, that way the noodles can cook. And they'll be good to go. All right, well, when I come back, we'll dish it up and try it. All right, it's been 30 minutes, 30-ish minutes at any rate. Just got done watching the TV, I actually got to sit and watch the Idiot Box for a minute. That doesn't happen very often. So now we are ready to dish this up. I can give you a quick look real quick on how it looks. It looks really good. I'd almost hate to stir it up, and it smells kind of like lasagna. It's really kind of cool. Let me, sorry about the quick movement there, but there's what we look like. We're going to end up stirring it up anyhow, but sorry, I didn't mean to jostle you around there, but that's what we got going on there. And that's a lot of gooey mozzarella, hands down. So we'll go ahead and get us a bowl together and see. Sorry, I had to set you down gently. I didn't want you crashing. So we'll get us a bowl. I'm going to get us a different spoon, though, one that will actually hold some of it. Tell you, one of the best things we've bought yet, utensil-wise, has been this. It looks like a shovel, but and it kind of is. But yeah, you get spoons that don't really hold enough for like, and ladles can be too big. Like, I don't think I'd want to use a ladle for this. You know, and this is almost like at work, we use what's called a spoodle. And it's part spoon, part ladle.
Is that ready?
Yeah, honey.
Is that ready?
It is ready. I'm just showing it to the rest of the world.
Oh, good.
So there we are right there in the bowl. And like I said, it looks quite the delish. So I am very impressed. Let me get a free hand here so I can move the camera back up. Do what, honey?
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi.
Oh, she's the best. Yeah, Abby's a pretty awesome chick. So let's. I'm gonna use a big spoon. I'm sure Chris would probably use a fork, but she's a fork person. I'm a spoon person. So we're gonna give this a shot. And 30 minutes was about right on those noodles. So, and it may vary a little depending on what type of noodle you used, but I can't imagine it would. That's really good. It really is. I don't even know how to describe it. Because it kind of tastes like lasagna, but it doesn't. Kind of taste. It's good. All right, I'm just going to leave it at that. You can taste that marinara sauce. And she was right. The heavy cream in it, I was a little leery. Not going to lie. But it does. It makes it smooth. It makes it rich. And I only know this because I tasted it for sugar a while back. And it truly had just your standard spaghetti sauce taste. Kind of. But you can taste the onions and the garlic where we sauteed them up and let all that marinate for 4 hours. It really, the beef broth in it, spot on. Not too much, not too little. It really did just enhance the flavor of the beef. I wasn't sure how that was going to work out. But I would definitely try this. You know, give it a shot. It's not hard to make. It literally, if I wouldn't have talked in the beginning, it took 10 minutes to get everything together. And let it cook in the crock pot. And then for 4 hours. And then another 30 minutes with the spinach and the noodles and the cheese. Bam. Done. Ready to serve. I'm ready to put this bowl out on the kitchen table so we can eat. So that being said, I am going to go eat. That is really hot, sitting in my hand. And yeah, try this. Tell me what you think. If you do, you know, let me know if it's good, bad, indifferent. If you change something up on it, add something, take something away, a little more of this, a little less of that. Let me know. Let me know what you did, what you think, and how you like it, or don't like it, for that matter. So tomorrow we're going to do a cheesecake. We're going to do a cinnamon toast crunch cheesecake. I think it's going to turn out pretty good. Yeah, cheesecakes can be scary. They can be a little intimidating, but we're going to work through it together. Yeah, I've only made a couple before this, you know, and but I'm always up for a good challenge. You know, and it's been a while since I've made a cheesecake. So that being said, tomorrow cinnamon toast crunch cheesecake, and I'm going to go eat. I love you. I love you so very much. I do mean that from the bottom of my heart, sincerely. Tell somebody else you love them. And love them very much. Make them some of this hamburger and cheese noodle slow cooker casserole, and you'll have a friend. I guarantee it. You'll probably have 2 or 3 friends because there's plenty to go around in there. It'll feed 6 to 8 people. I put some bread with it and a salad. You've got a Sunday afternoon meal that took you, no time at all. All right. I will see you tomorrow for cheesecake. Till then, stay safe. Be careful. Tell somebody else you love them. And go make a friend. Make a good neighbor. All right? Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.